This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
Here in Queens, New York, on the campus of St. John's University, ready to crown a Catholic League state title holder. It is the Nichols Vikings colliding with the St. Dominic Bayhawks, with both teams advancing victorious in the state semis. Hello, everyone. So glad you could join us. Alongside Roman Bernetti, I'm Lance Meadow here on the Varsity Media Sports Network. This is a well-rested St. Dominic team, Roman. They won on Friday night. They did not have to play a doubleheader. Meanwhile, Nichols winning in walk-off fashion in the bottom of the 8th earlier today over St. Francis Prep, and they're now looking to ride that momentum here into this matchup with the Bayhawks.
Yeah, Nichols, they had to spend a lot of energy to beat St. Francis Prep. It was a great game. They got the job done in extra innings, walk-off fashion. And when you look over on the other side, St. Dominic's, they're rested. They got their arms lined up. Tyler Camastro is going to toe the rubber today. He's been one of their star relief pitchers. He gets the start today. And it's two teams that are relatively young. St. Dominic's has got one senior in their starting lineup, and Nichols has got two seniors on their entire team. So two teams that are very youthful, but a chance to bring home a state title today.
And a relentless St. Dominic team that has just continually found a way to win religiously throughout the course of this season, going back to their postseason appearance in the Long Island Catholic League and then riding that all the way into the championship series against Kellenberg and beyond. It'll be Ryan Swanson that will take the hill to counter for Nichols, as this should be a good one in terms of both of these teams looking to do battle to try to square off to crown themselves the state title holder. As let's take you through the starting lineups for the both teams as we move forward here. And first for the Nichols Vikings, Brady Venditti at shortstop will lead things off, followed by Dom Bernardoni out in right field. Trent Ruffalo is out in center. He'll bat third. Connor Maoni, the hero who had the walk-off RBI single in the bottom of the 8th in the semis, manning first base, followed by Dom Ferlito, the catcher. Ryan Swanson on the hill. He'll also bat 6th. Emerson Weber at third base in the 7th spot, followed by Max Zlotnick, who started the semifinal game. He's going to DH in this one. And then Cody Kipler out in left field will round things out. And it is going to be Tyler Camastro on the mound for the Bayhawks. Camastro posted a 4.52 ERA during the regular season in league play. And opponents hit 286 off of him. He is another one of these two-way players that swings a mighty bat and is just as impressive on the hill. That's the other benefit, Roman, that St. Dominic has. Connor Ackerman is a two-way player. He pitched the complete game 3-hitter in the win yesterday over Iona Prep. They could have went with Ray Kim, Camastro. I mean, that's 3 choices that have been so reliable both in the box as well as on the mound this season.
Yeah, and Ackerman's playing first base today. Kim playing shortstop. We know how well they swing the bat. Can't forget about Dylan Weinstein, too. We might see him on the mound at some point today. He's playing right field, but St. Dom's filled with two-way players, youthful two-way players. They're going to have some guys that'll be around in this lineup for 2 more seasons after that. And they are already in a state championship game. Just crazy to think about what Joe Fusco has done with this program. But the Bayhawks, they're rested, they're ready to go. And Camastro gives them a really good chance to win on the mound. He's been dynamite this postseason. Had a great outing earlier in the NYSCHSAA playoffs against St. Anthony's. Got the save against Kellenberg in Game 3 of the championship series. So he's been on his game on the mound so far this postseason.
Nichols starting things off with Venditti. He also led off in the semifinal victory over St. Francis Prep. had a huge 3-run triple in the 5th inning of that game to help ignite the rally. He also struck out twice, flied out to center, and was hit by a pitch. And trying to get things going for his offense, as Nichols is the road team in this one. They were the home team in the semis.
Nichols was really struggling, especially offensively, really in all facets of the game. In that semifinal, they were down 6-1. They committed 3 errors. Pitchers were struggling, but they found a way. And in a do-or-die game, a win-or-go-home game, that's all you got to do, just find any kind of way. They did just that to beat St. Francis Prep. And Camastro's falling behind 3 balls, no strikes here.
Well, it was the free passes that hurt Nichols. It was the accumulation of the walks as well as the hit by pitches. But they battled and they found a way for their offense to bury that facet of the game. As you knew, Venditti was going to allow Camastro to try to find the strike zone here. Bernardoni and Ruffalo will follow here in the 1st inning. That one fouled off. So we're going to have a payoff pitch coming here for the leadoff batter. The senior captain for the Vikings, who came into today tied for the team lead in RBI as well as runs scored. And he drove in 3 in game 1, so he's now the sole leader with 16. And he is going to take a base, a leadoff walk to get things going in this championship game.
And not the way Camastro wanted to start, walking the leadoff hitter. And Nichols immediately has got a base runner. We saw them in the semifinal. Weren't afraid to cause some havoc on the bases, whether it was delayed steals, stopping halfway. They're not afraid to run.
Bernardoni fouls off the first pitch. He did double duty in the semifinal game earlier today, where we saw him bat throughout, but also went on the hill late and helped close out the game. Even though he did give up the game-tying run, he was able to match wits with St. Francis Prep. As the first 2 pitches, fouls off in the box. He had a single and a double. He also struck out, popped out to short, and lined out to right. So he had 5 opportunities with 2 hits. The team leader in batting average entering this weekend, and a ground ball to first. Ackerman is there, will throw to second. There's one, back to first. And how about Ackerman and Kim picking up where they left off last night with a 3-6-3 double play. And speaking of the defense, let's show you the alignment. Moreno, Kim, Muccia, and Ackerman from left to right. Scary behind the plate. Ganaris, Vangelatos, and Weinstein left to right in the outfield. The defense is maybe a bit of an underrated facet of this team, because we talk so much about the depth on the mound, the experienced and timely hitting, but what Ray Kim has done at shortstop has been magnificent in just this weekend alone. Can't tell you how many plays he's made to back up his arms, and that was yet another.
And Ackerman at first base, you wonder, pitched 7 innings yesterday. Is he gonna be able to make the throw? Is his arm fatigued? Well, throws it right on the money, and Kim, in one motion, grabs it and throws it back to first. And how about Ackerman getting back to cover the base?
Trent Ruffalo hammers one deep to left field. He had 3 singles in the semis, and this flight is a round trip. The junior center fielder going yard for the first time in his career. And just like that, it is Nichols striking first with a bang, 1-0, as they take care of business from their 3rd hitter in the lineup.
Right after the double play, that ball carries. How about that? What a time for your first varsity home run in the state championship game. How about that? Trent Ruffalo, liftoff, and Nichols takes the early lead once again.
He has come through with so many signature plays in offense and defense, but That was the biggest one of all as Maoni grounds out to first to end the inning, but not before Trent Ruffalo swinging for the fences here in Queens, New York. A power display at St. John's, no doubt about it. And it's a 1-0 lead as we head to the bottom of the first on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey, this is Doc Gooden, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
Here's the starting lineup for the St. Dominic Bayhawks, the home team in this championship contest. Don Muccia, the second baseman, will lead off. Dylan Weinstein's out in right field. Ray Kim will follow at short. Tyler Camastro is pitching and batting cleanup. Mike Scarry behind the plate in the 5-hole, followed by Christian Moreno at third base. Zach Cook is DHing. He'll hit 7th, followed by Chris Vangelatos down in center field. And Lou Ganaris, the left fielder, rounding out the starting lineup, and they will go head-to-head with Ryan Swanson, who is posting a 3.59 ERA this season. He has logged 25 1/3 innings. This is his 9th appearance. He's given up 16 runs, 13 earned on 19 hits and 23 walks. He is fan 21, and opponents hitting 204 off of him. Leading off for St. Dominic is Muccia, and he swings and misses at the first offering. In league play, 337 hitter. Swanson was the designated hitter in the semifinal win over St. Francis Prep. Now on the mound in this one.
And they're going to need some length from him.
Muccia pops this one up. Coming in from third is Weber. And a quick first out here in the bottom of the first. As we look at the Nichols defensive alignment with Weber, Venditti, Burnt, and Maoni from left to right. Ferlito behind the plate. And it is Kipler, Ruffalo, and Bernardoni in the outfield. As that breaking ball misses to Weinstein, second best hitter during regular season play, 396. And we just saw a home run from Trent Ruffalo. Well, we're now getting into the power part of the order for the Bayhawks, with Weinstein and Kim combining for 17 long balls during league play.
And that's in a wood bat league. Remember, the Catholic League here in New York State is wood bats. That's no joke, the power that these guys have.
And Weinstein taking his time here in the box. Last night, he was 0 for 3 with a walk. He went down looking. He popped out to second. He flied out to center. And Weinstein, well-disciplined, is going to earn a one-out walk to put a runner on for Ray Kim.
Kim, the MVP of the NYSCHSAA Championship Series against Kellenberg. He's dominant in the mound in game 2, chipped in offensively in all 3 contests.
Hit 265 in league play. Last night, he was hit by a pitch. Outside of that, he popped out twice and he struck out. Kim dealt with injury earlier this season. That is why he wasn't a dual threat for much of the year. Him and Ackerman were both dealing with injury. It was forearm tendonitis that inflamed from lifting. So Joe Fusco, he had mentioned, once we get everybody at our disposal, we could be a dangerous team. This was right before they started the Catholic League playoffs, and that proved to be a very good omen, given he got Ackerman and Kim back, and they wound up beating Kellenberg in the championship series as a result of having all hands on deck. Is sliding in safely at second is going to be Weinstein.
Yeah, they've gotten all hands on deck and then some. Production from everybody. And again, this is a really youthful team, and you know, I'm going to be quite frank, as someone who was a student at Chaminade and called games for the Flyers and kept close tabs on the National Suffolk Catholic League, I didn't think St. Dominic's was going to be in this game, much less win the National Suffolk Championship, but they proved me wrong as the 5 seed. I was impressed.
Keeping an eye on Weinstein. Here's the 3-1 pitch to Kim, and he bounces one to short. Fielded cleanly, and they'll take the out at first for 2 away here in the bottom of the first inning. But advancing to third is Weinstein, as Venditti tossed it across the diamond to Maoni. So we'll see Tyler Camastro pitching and hitting in this game, looking to clean up and help his own cause. That first pitch low and outside for a ball. Camastro was their best hitter during league play, .403. Last night, he was 2 for 2 with a walk, a pair of singles. So take a strike. Mike Scarry is on deck if Camastro can continue this frame. Scary to think that he is just a sophomore and he is already dazzling in the box, leading the team in average for the bulk of the season, and then they could also utilize him on the hill. Joe Fusco's still going to have 2 more years out of this weapon. And as you noted, Roman, overall it is a relatively young team. So the nucleus is going to be back, which means if they can win this game, they'll have continuity on their side. And you look top to bottom, Muccia, Vangelatos are juniors. Weinstein and Camastro, a sophomore. Ray Kim is also a junior. Ackerman's a junior. The list goes on and on. Scary's a junior. And even Ganaris is a sophomore. It's a pitch out. Weinstein still hanging out at third. Joe Fusco's arguing they wanted a balk, but no call there, and everybody's going to stay put.
That was a really funky play because Weinstein was dancing off third and drew the attention of Swanson. Nichols might have gotten away with one there.
Here's the 2-2 pitch, and that one fouled over us in the press box. This is righty against righty with 2s across the board. There's Weinstein dancing again at third, and Camastro lifts one into the gap in right center field, and a sliding backhanded grab by Bernardoni, who was impressive in game number 1 with his arm, and he adds his glove to his resume here in game number 2. An outright robbery in right to keep this a 1-0 lead in favor of Nichols. As we take another look, Bernardoni prevented Camastro from getting a base hit with one in the books on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
You've seen the dedication, the long hours, the early mornings, the sacrifice. You know your athlete has what it takes, but how do you make sure the right people see it? The recruiting process isn't easy. Coaches are flooded with highlights. but how do you stand out in the crowd? At Varsity Media, we specialize in creating game-changing ISO videos, high-definition, athlete-focused footage that highlights exactly what college recruiters want to see. With our up-close ISO video, we capture your athletes' key moments. No more wide angles showing other players. This is just your athlete's pure, raw talent. This is more than a video. This is the opportunity your athlete deserves. Give your athlete the edge they need. Make the right impression with Varsity Media's ISO video service. The future starts now.
We move to the top of the second here in Queens, New York, with Nichols ahead of St. Dominic 1-0. A home run by Trent Ruffalo in the top of the first, the difference maker. Outside of that, Camastro issued a walk, got a double play ball to first, and then Maoni grounded out to first to end the last inning. So it's Ferlito, Swanson, and Weber due up here in this frame. The 5, 6, and 7 batters. Ferlito in game number 1 today was 0 for 3 with a walk. He grounded out twice and flied out. He drew that walk in that 4-run 5th inning that helped them rally. And Ferlito was the hero in game 3 in the semis in extra innings. Had a huge hit. They are adding other players like Maoni to the resume, as just like we talked about the relentless nature of St. Dominic, Nichols has subscribed to the same school of thought during this impressive postseason run.
Yeah, if you want to get to a state championship game, you're going to play close games. You're going to need guys to step up, and these Vikings have had a lot of those guys and then some.
As Camastro dealing and taking care of Ferlito, looking for his first K of the afternoon as he tells him to strike a pose.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Dots that one on the outer part of the plate to the righty. 1 up and 1 down for Camastro.
So here is pitcher against pitcher with Swanson now in the box.
Swanson got the better part of this matchup in the previous half inning. Got Camastro to line out in what was a sliding grab by Dom Bernardoni to save a run.
1-0 pitch nearly skimmed the helmet of Swanson. Went off the glove of Scary. As the designated hitter in the semis, he struck out twice, drew a walk, and grounded into a 6-4-3 double play, which was huge because that was when they had the bases loaded, but they still delivered in the 8th to make up for it. Camastro falling behind in the count here, 3 balls and no strikes. Swanson normally is the number 3 starter, but since they used Grayson Gordon in game 1 today, that is why Swanson was moved up. And it is going to be a 4-pitch walk to the opposing starting ace, and that will put 1 on with 1 out.
Might have a little bit of a tight zone here today for the state final. A couple of those pitches from Camastro were close, but not enough. And Swanson gladly takes his free base, and he stands at first as Emerson Weber digs into the right-handed hitter's batter's box.
Starting third baseman for the Vikings. Weber had a base hit in his final at-bat in the 7th of the semifinal matchup with St. Francis Prep. He was 1 for 3 with a walk. Camastro high and inside on that offering.
And this is a good mound visit by Scary. That's now 6 straight balls from Camastro. All have been mostly up in the zone, up and away. It looks like he's tying his shoe right now. But a good reset from Scary and Camastro. Just got to get strike 1. Just got to get a strike. See that ball cross the plate and pop the catcher's mitt. get that strike call, and then move forward. Sometimes you just got to reset. Can't get ahead of yourself. Can't get too far out in front, especially in a state title game.
Weber came into this weekend hitting .275 as Camastro keeps an eye on Swanson, who has 2 stolen bases in as many opportunities this season. Weber's in his 2nd year on varsity and a real scrappy player who does a little bit of everything. Ryan Brzee, the head coach of Nichols, calls him an elite defender, but a solid contact hitter. And he doesn't make contact there, but he draws another free base. So consecutive walks with 1 out for Camastro. And now Max Zlotnick has 2 on to work with. He started the semifinal, was pulled in 2+ innings of work before Gordon took over. First pitch misses inside for a ball. Cody Kipler batting 9th is on deck.
Camastro really struggling to find the strike zone here. It's 9 straight balls.
And that is going to hit Zlotnick. So it is going to now load up the bases. And just as we talked about in game 1 of our doubleheader, the free passes hurting Nichols. Well, now it's the same thing for St. Dominic. 2 walks and a hit by a pitch. And Kipler now has everything loaded up for him in this 9th spot as Joe Fusco comes out to chat with Camastro and company, trying to get the right-hander to settle down after he gave up the home run in the 1st, and now is going to have to wiggle out of this jam with just 1 out.
And the Bayhawks are running some players out to the right field bullpen. Plethora of guys heading out. Saw Michael Perullo, Ethan Osorio as well, sprinting out there right now. All hands on deck. I don't think they have Ray Kim today. Heard that he was having a little bit of arm pain. Not enough for him to stay off the field. He is good to play shortstop, but get on the mound is a much different story when you're throwing tons of high-stress pitches every minute.
And that is that forearm tendonitis that I referenced earlier in the broadcast that he has been battling. As Kipler takes a strike.
That's big for Camastro. Just get strike 1. There's 1 out. All you need is a ground ball here to get out of the inning. He's going to step off here. Just got to reset. Don't got to go 0 to hero in 1 pitch. Take it 1 pitch at a time.
Kipler is going to move out of the way, and this is going to be an easy out and maybe another one. And what a remarkable double play to end the frame. My goodness. Swanson loses his footing, gets tagged out by Scary, and then they pick off Weber at 3rd, and a bases loaded 1-out jam dissipates in the fraction of a second. As we take another look, you're going to see the footing stumbling underneath Swanson, so he's tagged out, and then ultra aggressive was Weber, and they easily got him out by a mile. It stays a 1-0 game on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
Well, I've been working with Varsity Media for, 14 years. When we have video needs, whether that be a game, whether that be a practice, whether it be social media, it's nice to know that somebody understands what we're looking for without asking for it.
We started working with Varsity Media back in 2021, and since then they've been an absolute game changer, putting our event on the map. Varsity Media couldn't be a better partner, and if you're looking to optimize your event, I couldn't recommend them anymore.
It's been great for us. You know, the kids really get excited when they know that Varsity Media is going to be here. Not just what's happening on the football field, but all the excitement that's around it. It really boosted the environment here, and everybody gets really excited for what's going on.
Varsity Media is reliable, professional, and their quality work is fantastic. It's like watching ESPN. The announcers are unreal, really do a great job of speaking to the coaches to get the knowledge of the players, the season, what's going on with the team. There is nothing better than Varsity Media doing a live broadcast.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
So we head to the bottom of the second, but I think many people here and watching at home are still reacting to what we just witnessed to end the top of the frame with a double play being pulled off by Camastro and company with the bases loaded and one out, with Swanson stumbling en route to coming home, and then Weber just being ultra aggressive in trying to take third as Scary lays down the bunt to perfection, and there's not going to be a throw in time. So momentum is starting to dramatically turn in favor of the Bayhawks. They get the defensive push from Scary in the top of the frame, and then here in the bottom, he works his bat with the bunt.
Yeah, gorgeous bunt. Drops it down in between the mound and the third base foul line, right in no man's land. Such a tough play for Swanson, who's falling off to the first base side of the rubber. He's got to reverse course and make an off-balance play. High IQ move from Scary. He's lifted for a courtesy runner, and the Bayhawks are in business.
It's Christian Moreno now in the box.
I believe that's Nick Vitale running at first for St. Dominic.
We saw that yesterday where they did something similar. We've also seen it throughout this postseason run. And they are going to say that is a full swing and a strike for Moreno to even the count at one apiece. Moreno yesterday hit by a pitch, popped out, grounded into a fielder's choice to third. As this one will sail into the stands. Cook and Vangelatos due up in the bottom of the second. As we make our way to the bottom of the order for the Bayhawks. One-two breaking ball.
Moreno, the lone senior in this Bayhawks starting lineup, committed to the College of Staten Island, providing a veteran leadership to this team.
And they're going to appeal to first and say that he did not go all the way around. And a lot of their younger players have already committed to several programs across the board. You mentioned Moreno. Kim's going to Rhode Island. And they've got Ackerman committed to Hofstra. So even though they have still a few more seasons to go, some of these players already receiving attention from the local area. And then Matt DeFranza, who is a reliable reliever, a senior, is committed to Mount St. Vincent.
Lucas Mosman as well, senior pitcher, D1 for U of New Haven.
As they just moved up a rank on the collegiate level. This ball is lifted into right field, and that is going to drop in for Moreno. As Bernardoni, it looked as if he had a pathway to make the catch. It seemed to hold up long enough, but he was a little bit late. It bounced right in front of him, and now 2 on with nobody out.
Yeah, you're right, Lance. That seemed like that was up there for a while, and Bernardoni just unable to get there. And great base running by Vitale. He gets about 2/3 of the way, maybe halfway in between first and second. So if that ball drops, he's able to advance and reach second safely. So great job by him. Able to move up to second. And 2 on, nobody out for St. Dom's.
Cook was 1 for 3 last night.
It's just another example of the youth of this St. Dom's team. This kid is just a freshman. He's starting in the state championship game as a freshman. How about that? Just shows how how advanced he is beyond his years. And he's got a great chance to bring in the Bayhawks' first run of the afternoon right here.
Meanwhile, Swanson trying to keep him in check. Cook grounded out, went down looking, and singled in his 3 at-bats in the win over Iona Prep. The 1-1 pitch nearly made contact with him.
Now Swanson getting into a bit of a precarious spot here. And he's got an open base, but the job doesn't get any easier. This is a very long St. Dom's lineup. Chris Vangelatos, number 8 hitter, he's a junior, he's a veteran, he's advanced, he can hit.
And the 2-1 pitch is skied high into right field. Bernardoni's going to get a makeup there as he'll secure it for the first out of the frame, and both runners stay put at first and second.
That's a big out for Swanson. Bit of a lazy fly ball there from Cook. And Bernardoni, as you said, redeems himself this time by hustling to the spot and making the one-handed grab.
So here is Chris Vangelatos. He singled, along with laying down a sac bunt and going down swinging last night, and a line drive into the gap in left center field, and that is going to bounce up against the wall. So Vitale comes in to score. Rounding third and heading home with a slide is Moreno. It's a 2-run double off the bat of Chris Vangelatos, the 8th hitter delivering and moving the Bayhawks in front here in the bottom of the second. It's 2-1.
First pitch swinging, first pitch drilling. That ball one-hops the wall. And Vitale was on the move for a second. He was like, wait, is this going to be caught? But well beyond the outfielders. Moreno gets a good read. He comes all the way around from first. And just like that, St. Dom's has taken the lead.
So here is Lucanaris, the 9th hitter, showing bunt. And he's fortunate that sailed far away from the Nichols defenders. And you go back to how mishaps and mistakes pile up. Scary lays down a beautiful bunt single to lead off the inning. And then Moreno has essentially a pop-up fly ball, but Bernardoni can't get to it. That drops in for a hit. And all of a sudden, you're extending the inning, and Vangelatos capitalizes. And Nichols dealt with a lot of that in the semifinal matchup. And that's why it was a bit of a roller coaster morning, and they're looking to avoid that here in the afternoon.
Yeah, very tense, very exciting, drama-filled semifinal. That's usually enough for one postseason, much less one season for these fans. Not sure if they can handle another close finish.
As Ganaris swings and misses, the throw to third is wide, so Weber had to hustle, and in safely at the bag is Vangelatos. So he is now inching closer to bringing home potentially another run, but that was still a huge out for Swanson to take care of Ganaris swinging. And we go to the top of the order with Muccia, who popped out to third in his first at bat.
Muccia's already got over 100 career hits as just a junior. 93 in a Bayhawk uniform. Had a few as an 8th grader at Huntington.
Been on varsity since his freshman year with St. Dominic, and just an absolute hitting machine for Joe Fusco. And a chance here to perhaps pad the lead with Vangelatos at third.
Lance, we saw that no lead is safe in the semifinals. St. Francis was cruising along up 5 runs, and in the blink of an eye, they were only up 1, then they fell behind, and then eventually they lost the game in extra innings. So if you're St. Dom's, you'll take any run, any and every run.
Weinstein is on deck if Muccia can continue the frame. And the 2-2 pitch, a ground ball to second, backhanded, and regaining form is Jack Burnt for the toss to first to end the inning. A huge defensive play by the right side of the infield, but St. Dominic puts 2 on the board thanks to Vangelatos' 2-run double. It's a 2-1 game in favor of the Bayhawks as we take another look at the clutch hitting by the 8th hitter in the lineup. St. Dominic seizing control of this one as we step aside on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age. Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong, and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
Moving along here in Queens, New York, as we head to the top of the 3rd inning. St. Dominic with a 2-1 lead over Nichols in this Catholic League state championship game. We're going to have a new winner as St. Dominic ousted the defending champ Iona Prep last night. They're well rested coming into this one. They only have to play 1 game. Nichols, meanwhile, won the semifinal game earlier today and is playing its 2nd contest. And this pitch is driven into the gap in left center field, and Vangelatos is able to track it down for out number 1 with the top of the order, Grady Venditti, going down.
Had to battle the sun, did Vangelatos, but he was able to handle it. Got caught backpedaling a little bit, but he made the grab. And Camastro was able to get out of dodge in the 2nd, and he gets out number 1 in the 3rd. So maybe that resets him and gets him back on his game.
Bernardoni grounded into a 3-6-3 double play in his first opportunity in the 1st inning. That was one of 2 double plays that Nichols has entangled itself in this game. And Camastro now starting to locate after having pitches not go his way early on. Ruffalo is on deck. And the 0-2 pitch low and outside. Bernardoni, 1st team All-Catholic League this season. As he sends one into center field, and Vangelatos has no problem with that one. 2 away.
That's what happens when you throw strikes. You get outs. Put the ball over the plate and allow your defense to make the plays. It's the name of the game. 7 defenders behind you plus the catcher. Allow the hitters to put the ball in play Allow your defense to make the plays. That's what they're there for. Good job by Camastro throwing strikes and pounding the zone.
So, excuse me, that was Venditti who just flied out because Kipler led off the inning with the double play that occurred with him in the box. So that is what created a little bit of a mix-up here. So now Bernardoni will have his official opportunity as Vangelatos taking care of the first two batters of this frame.
And I might have spoken too soon. Camastro falling behind 3-0 on Bernardoni. I want to allow a 2-out base runner. That's how Nichols won the game in the semifinal. There's a strike. In the 8th inning, the first two hitters got out, and then Bernardoni drew a 2-out walk, Ruffalo drew a 2-out walk, and Maione walked it off.
And Bernardoni is going to earn a walk here. So they'll put one on with 2 out. And now Ruffalo is going to have a chance. He was the one that took Camastro deep to left in the first inning, his first career home run. We'll see what he has for an encore performance. Came into this weekend hitting .230, but it's what he's done in the postseason that tells more of the recent show with a .500 average. And you can understand why schools on all levels are taking an interest in this junior center fielder, especially after that home run display.
And sometimes it's about when you get hot. And for Ruffalo, he's gotten hot at the exact perfect time. And a home run in the first inning. Just an example of what he's been able to do this postseason for Nichols.
Camastro watching Bernardoni, who's got 11 stolen bases and 13 opportunities this season. Ruffalo watches one enter the strike zone. So Nichols now down to its final strike. We're in the top of the 3rd inning. Runner goes, the 1-2 pitch. Elevated into right field, and there to make the catch is Weinstein, and that will put an end to the top of the 3rd inning as Camastro works his way around a 2-out walk. It's a 2-1 lead in favor of the Bayhawks off to the bottom of the 3rd on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
He's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the face-off. That's 3 in a row now.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
And we are back here in the bottom of the 3rd on the Varsity Media Sports Network with St. Dominic ahead of Nichols 2-1 in this Catholic League state championship game, with Weinstein, Kim, and Camastro due up to face Swanson in this inning. And we are now joined by a very special guest, the Associate Director of Athletics for St. Francis Prep, as well as the state baseball chairman, none other than Chris Hartart. Chris, appreciate the time. How's everything?
All great, all great. Great to have you guys here.
Absolutely. Well, it has been an eventful weekend in terms of St. Dominic's masterpiece last night and them now one win away from the championship game. But you had a lot of decision-making to get through. Chris, I want to start there because of the heat index yesterday. So what was the process like in walking through the different options, and what led to the ultimate decision to not have both semis a day later, but instead split them up?
Well, first of all, it's the cooperation of all the dioceses. You know, the leadership at all the dioceses, the cooperation of them, and the cooperation of the coaches, being open-minded to what we had to do. And there's a lot, obviously there's a lot of moving parts when you have to make a move like that, and all you can do is make an educated decision based on the information you have. And with the New York State guidelines about the heat index, we knew that was going to be a problem, or at least that was the forecast. And to try to jam in 2 games starting at 6 or 7 o'clock, we didn't think it was the right thing to do, to try to have kids play here until after midnight or anything like that. So the coaches, and there's a little precedent.
Well, as you were talking, Weinstein is going to rip one here down the left field line, and he is going to head to second and slide in safely. He's not going to take his chances at going to third. It's going to be a leadoff 2-bagger for the Bayhawks, as they already have a runner in scoring position.
Yeah, so the precedent a couple of the years so far in the state tournament, because of graduations and proms and things like that. Like 2 years ago, St. Peter's had their graduation on Friday night, so we had to do 2 games on Saturday. So there's precedent to it, and that's what led to the decision.
And Chris, this state tournament wasn't always a thing. It did start in 2023. So how did that come about? Because there was never really a state champion. So how did that kind of start?
Well, so I started out, I was the baseball chairman of Long Island, the Nassau Suffolk League, for many, many years, for over 25 years. And it was always something in the back of my mind, because I grew up in Queens, and I grew up in the NYSCHSAA, so I knew about all the teams in the city, and then I have a connection with a lot of the Buffalo teams also. So it was always something that I felt, and I got to give Bob Melandro from Holy Trinity, who was our baseball coach for a very long time, brother Robert Kent from St. Francis Prep. Those guys, they saw this as something that we should really be trying to do for the benefit of baseball in the state. And I'm so happy that, in the spring there's a lot of logistics. There's logistics with graduations and proms and graduation masses for all our schools and stuff, but this was something I thought was valuable. I always thought it was valuable, and we finally got some concessions by all the dioceses, and again, like I said before, cooperation. And that's what happened. And so it was kind of a dream of mine, and 5 years ago we started it, and here we are today. And what's interesting is this will be the 5th different champion in 5 years. So I think we've done something right.
A lot of parity, for sure.
A lot of parity. Yeah.
Well, let's piggyback off of that point, because, some would say it's good to have a dynasty. Others would say, Chris, it's great to have this rotation, because it just goes to show you the competitive balance of the Catholic League. I mean, how beneficial do you think it is that we will be crowning?
I think it's tremendous. I think the fact that and another interesting tidbit is, Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, and New York, there's a lot of interleague play that goes on between those schools, right, over the last years. But Buffalo, they were an unknown. Like, we had no idea what we were getting ourselves into in baseball with them. And they've proven, this is, I think, the 3rd year that they've been in the finals. They haven't won one yet, but they've been in the finals 3 out of the 5 years. So they've definitely proven to be a formidable baseball up there in Buffalo. So
Ray Kim is in the box facing a 1-2 count with Weinstein at second here in the bottom of the 3rd inning, with St. Dominic ahead of Nichols 2-1, and Swanson keeping close tabs on Weinstein here. One of the things that also, I'm sure, you hold close to your heart related to this state tournament is the fact that St. Francis Prep made an appearance, a program you're highly invested in. You brought up the late, great Brother Robert Kent. How meaningful is it in terms of what Robert McDermott has done in taking over the program, Chris, and really trying to maintain the traditions that Brother Robert Kent had set forth?
Well, Rob was a great player at St. Francis Prep, played on a championship team. I actually believe it's Brother Rob's first championship team in 1986. So I know there's a lot of history between Rob and Brother Rob, and I think Brother Rob, brought Rob McDermott along, and I think he is very proud. I know he's proud of what Rob has done with the program.
86 was when he pitched at Shea Stadium, Robert McDermott, for that championship team. So it's amazing. It's such a small world in terms of everybody being connected.
Right. It's that's one of the great things about St. Francis Prep is the tradition that they hold very close. The tradition of the school in the athletic department is amazing.
The 2-2 pitch to Kim, a liner right to center, and it's going to be hauled in for out number one, and they're going to step on second for the double play as Weinstein ran all the way down to third base. So a great job by Trent Ruffalo to make the catch and then toss it over to second as we take another look.
Yeah, Weinstein just caught in no man's land. And a quick 2 outs for Nichols. But I want to go back, Chris, to that tradition. You mentioned the tradition of St. Francis Prep. And we have such a great Catholic tradition as that ball hit the center field and it's flagged down for the third out. But we have a great Catholic tradition with the schools and then baseball. So what does it mean to combine those two traditions for a great weekend of baseball?
Well, listen, I mean, it's all of our schools need the publicity. They need the support of our alumni. They need the support of our people that are in the school, and this only lends to that. It only helps us sell the product of Catholic education and the greatness of our Catholic high schools. So,
Chris, thank you so much for stopping by. Really appreciate all the hard work, as this is Chris Hardart, the Associate Director.
Thank you guys for all your support and being part of our whole operation. It's great.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure being here as we'll step aside on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media. You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Merrill, he's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the face-off X 3 in a row now.
To the top of the fourth inning here in Queens, New York. Lance Meadow, Roman Bernetti with you here. Thanks so much for spending part of your Saturday afternoon with us on the Varsity Media Sports Network, as we've got a tight affair here in the Catholic League State Championship game with St. Dominic leading Nichols 2-1. And this has been a duel thus far between Camastro and Swanson. As Camastro still moving along here, and he'll have to deal with Maoni, Ferlito, and Swanson due up here in this frame. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters. Maoni grounded out to first in his first at bat. He was the hero in the semis, had the walk-off RBI single. He's the reason why they have a doubleheader today. This grounder is going to be handled by Muccia, and there is one away in the fourth.
And Tyler Camastro just chugging along. Worked around a 2-out walk in the third. Got that crazy double play to end the second. And outside of Trent Ruffalo's solo home run with 2 outs in the first, he's been pretty solid.
Yeah, that's the only hit, Roman.
Yeah.
He has given up thus far. Here's Ferlito, and the first pitch is grounded foul.
Take out the walks and the one hit by pitch, and Camastro talking about a dazzling performance. But either way, he's still only giving up 1 run across 3 1/3.
Well, and he's been aided by 2 double plays, specifically the one that ended the second inning, which I think is going to be studied for some time, including by the Nichols coaching staff, as to what went wrong. And of course, Swanson, nobody could have thought that he would have stumbled and lost his footing. That played a role, but also the aggressiveness by Weber to really make matters worse, as this liner is going to be backhanded by Ray Kim, who just is marvelous at shortstop, handling ground balls, liners, fly balls, you name it. There is nothing that he can't handle.
That's why he's going D1. Some great range, dashing to his right and plucking that out of the air for out number 2. That was a soft line drive. Wasn't sure if Moreno was going to get there. He wasn't, a little too tall for him. But Kim on the backhand able to pluck that out of the air, and Camastro's got the first 2 outs in the fourth.
So here is Ryan Swanson. He drew a walk in the second. Weber is on deck if he can get aboard. Camastro hits Swanson on the backside, so that'll put a runner on with 2 out. And you were mentioning, if you take away the free passes, unfortunately for Camastro, they are starting to pile up. He has, in this game, he has issued 4 walks, and he has hit 2 with a pitch. So it's remarkable, Roman, when you think about it. That's 6 free passes, yet Nichols has only scored 1 run based on that tally.
And you really, that's where that double play comes into factor, because Camastro, in that inning, the 3 base runners were resultant of 2 walks and a hit by pitch. So he wasn't having his best command in that inning. So who knows what happens if Nichols is able to clear up the base running issues. You know, this could be a totally different game. As it stands, it's 2-1. The Vikings have run themselves out of a few innings, and they're still trailing. Camastro gets strike 1 on Emerson Weber.
Well, to your point, it's why the Vikings, and we still have plenty of baseball ahead here, but could really be playing, especially based on what occurred in the semifinal game that they won, a little bit of the coulda, woulda, shoulda game. Had things gone differently, especially when they had the bases loaded and grounded into a double play in that 5th inning, which could have done even more damage, and maybe it doesn't go extra innings. All of these things add up, but despite that, Nichols is still within striking distance in this one, with a runner on and 2 out. And Weber drew a walk in his first at bat. He'll pop that one up behind the stands here at St. John's. His temperatures now in the mid-80s with a few clouds in the sky. He had a rain delay prior to yesterday's game, but Mother Nature cooperating today. And the 0-2 pitch sails ahead of Weber. Scary will throw over to Ackerman at first. Zlotnick is on deck.
Bottom of the Nichols order was so good in the semifinal. And they keep a 2-out rally going here. The slow clap coming from the St. Dom's fans.
And Camastro gets Weber looking. So when they have needed the right-hander to come through, he has found an answer, putting an end to a potential rally for Nichols. It stays 2-1 as we move to the bottom of the fourth, thanks to Tyler Camastro digging deep into his arsenal of pitches and taking care of Weber on the outside corner on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
You've seen the dedication, the long hours, the early mornings, the sacrifice. You know your athlete has what it takes, but how do you make sure the right people see it? The recruiting process isn't easy. Coaches are flooded with highlights, but how do you stand out in the crowd? At Varsity Media, we specialize in creating game-changing ISO videos, high-definition, athlete-focused footage that highlights exactly what college recruiters want to see. With our up-close ISO video, we capture your athlete's key moments. No more wide angles showing other players. This is just your athlete's pure, raw talent. This is more than a video. This is the opportunity your athlete deserves. Give your athlete the edge they need. Make the right impression with Varsity Media's ISO video service. The future starts now.
Off to the bottom of the fourth here in Queens, New York, with St. Dominic edging Nichols 2-1 in this Catholic League state championship game. So while we were talking with Chris Hardart, Trent Ruffalo was shaken up, so he is not in center field. It is now Dom Bernardoni, who moved over from right to center, and then Eamon Smith now is out in right field. So a change in the defense for the Vikings, as they now have some new personnel backing up Swanson, who is starting things off against Scary, followed by Moreno and Cook, due up in the order. This is a Bayhawks team that has 2 runs on 4 hits, compared to just 1 run and 1 hit for the Vikings. And Trent Ruffalo, who I just mentioned is out of the game, is responsible for that lone run.
That's kind of a big blow considering the way that he's been performing in this postseason. Such a remarkable average. He had the home run in the first inning to take his bat out of the lineup, and that's kind of a crushing blow for Nichols, one of their offensive leaders, no longer in the game. So how do they respond? Well, it starts on the mound with Swanson throwing strikes and getting outs.
And the 3-1 pitch misses inside. It's a leadoff walk to Mike Scary. And I know I'm going to speculate a little bit, Roman, but it's hard to avoid it based on the fact that, remember, Nichols is playing its second game, whereas St. Dominic isn't. So we don't know what Trent Ruffalo is dealing with. Could be a variety of things, and we certainly don't need to speculate, but you wonder, was the first game and the stress that put on his body a contributing factor as to why he's now unavailable here in game 2? It's just some food for thought in terms of how the dynamic shifted. Once again, out of the control, based on our conversation with Chris Hardart, it's state regulations based on the heat index, so there's only so much you can do, and limited days to move things around with traveling and so forth. But here is where these things pile up and could very well have contributed there. As we see Christian Moreno, who singled in the second with Scary, who was lifted by a courtesy runner, and it is going to be a safe arrival for Vitale, who lifted Scary also earlier in the game, and he is now in scoring position with nobody out here in the fourth.
That was a bang-bang play. Vitale just able to get in there ahead of the tag, and he is in scoring position, nobody out. Moreno's got to at least get him to third base here.
Moreno, a .254 hitter during league play. And that is going to nail him on the helmet. It seems as if Moreno is okay, but clearly a bit frustrated as he is going to head to first. So they're going to have runners at first and second. You see Joe Fusco, the head coach of the Bayhawks, coming in to check out Moreno. It reminded me of a similar occurrence to what happened to Zach Cook, who is actually coming up to hit right now. Earlier in the Long Island Catholic League playoffs where he took a very scary hit off his helmet. Vangelatos had to replace him. Thank goodness he jumped back up and he ultimately played the next game. But we will take a break with a meeting on the Hill in a 2-1 game in the fourth on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
Well, I've been working with Varsity Media for, 14 years. When we have video needs, whether that be a game, whether that be a practice, whether it be social media, it's nice to know that somebody understands what we're looking for without asking for it.
We started working with Varsity Media back in 2021, and since then they've been an absolute game changer, putting our event on the map. Varsity Media couldn't be a better partner, and if you're looking to optimize your event, I couldn't recommend them anymore.
It's been great for us. You know, the kids really get excited when they know that Varsity Media is going to be here. Not just what's happening on the football field, but all the excitement that's around it. It really boosts the environment here, and everybody gets really excited for what's going on.
Varsity Media is reliable, professional, and the quality work is fantastic. It's like watching ESPN. The announcers are unreal, really do a great job of speaking to the coaches to get the knowledge of the players, the season, what's going on with the team. There is nothing better than Varsity Media doing a live broadcast.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
So the new pitcher in the game for Nichols is Evan Hintz. He replaces Ryan Swanson. Hintz 1-0 with a 2.33 ERA in 4 appearances this season. He's logged just 6 innings, 2 runs, both earned on 5 hits and 5 walks, struck out 9. And opponents hitting .217 off of him. And this is an example of, if you're Brian Bruzzi, the head coach of Nichols, digging maybe a little bit deeper into your arms as a result of the pitchers that he utilized in game 1 in order to advance to the championship.
Yeah, he used 3 pitchers, including his number 2 starter, Grayson Gordon. Dom Bernardoni also came in. He was the final pitcher. So the 5th pitcher of the day for Nichols. 5th pitcher of the tournament. When you look at St. Dom's, they've only used 2 arms so far. So the Bayhawks set up much better in the pitching category than the Vikings are.
And the first pitch to Cook. Swing and a miss. Cook flied out to right in his first at bat.
And Ryan Swanson now playing right field for Nichols. So comes out of the game off the mound, but right back into the game as the right fielder.
As the game of musical chairs continues due to the injury to Trent Ruffalo. As we saw Eamon Smith originally out there, and now Swanson takes over. And that's what happens when you have dual threats who can both pitch and play the field and contribute in the box. As Cook drives one deep to center field. Backing up is Bernardoni to make a nifty grab, and that forces everybody to hustle to their respective spots, with Vitale returning to second and Moreno at first.
That's a big-time grab from Dom Bernardoni. He was caught sprinting back as Cook put a charge into that one, but he was able to flag it down and force both Vitale and Moreno to retreat to their respective bases. If that gets over his head, that likely goes all the way to the wall and probably scores 2 and makes it a 4-1 game. So that is a big-time catch from Bernardoni in center field.
And remember, he was originally playing right and moved to center with Ruffalo coming out of the game, so a bit of an adjustment for him as well, and so far settling in there.
And they say when you come into the game, it finds you, and it for sure found Bernardoni, and he was up to the task.
Here is Vangelatos. Fouls this one off. Got a 2-run double to put them ahead in the second. .265 hitter in league play. We saw Evan Hintz as a pinch hitter in the semifinal game and came through with a base hit in his first at bat. And now looking to contribute on the mound and keep his team very much in the thick of things as the breaking ball gets away from him.
And Nichols forced to kind of go deep into their pitching staff today. And in a game like this, it's really all hands on deck. You've got to be ready to throw. You've got to be ready when your number is called, and you have to be ready to produce. Hintz did that with the bat. Now he's got to do it on the mound. Vitale dancing off second base. These Bayhawk base runners, they don't mess around. They take their leads and they take sizable ones, and they get aggressive. That's one of the reasons why they've been so successful the back portion of the season is they're aggressive on the bases. They like to take the extra 90 feet, and if you make a mistake, they'll make you pay.
And defensively, they're also well disciplined that if you make a mistake on the flip side, that'll be costly, as we saw with a pair of double plays that they already pulled off in this contest. Is Hinton watching Vitale again. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's popped up. And it may stay playable for Ferlito. And it does as he gets underneath it. So the fly out off the bat of Zach Cook, and now Vangeloto's popping out. And 2 on with 2 out for the 9th hitter, Lucaнаris.
Couple big timeouts there from Evan Hintz. Comes in with 2 runners on base and gets 2 quick outs, gets 2 fly balls. He's got 1 more out to get with Lucaнаris.
He went down swinging in his first at bat. As Hinton again, this is the second time we've seen him look as if he's getting ready to deliver a pitch and then having some second thoughts because of Vitale. A comfortable lead off of second. And that nearly hit. No, it actually did skim Gunaris. So it is going to be a free pass for the 9th hitter in the lineup. And that is going to load the bases and bringing up the top of the order. Muccia, who we were talking about earlier in the broadcast, has really been a hitting machine this season.
He sure has been. He's been a hitting machine his whole varsity career. And this is his moment. Biggest moment of his varsity career right here. Bases loaded, up a run in the state championship game. This is the moment you dream about as a kid. And Mucci's got a chance to expand this lead. Vitale continues to dance off third.
He's 0 for 2. He popped out and he grounded out. A bouncer towards first. And gingerly heading to the bag is Maoni to end the inning. And the bases were loaded but left stranded. And it stays a 2-1 game. St. Dominic still in front, but Nichols continuing to fight for their shot at a state championship here in Queens on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Are you a local business looking for new and creative ways to promote your company? Varsity Media offers affordable rates that can get your message across to a demographic of 18 to 54 years of age.
Our follower base across social media is 75,000 strong,
and our viewership numbers per game are in the thousands. Don't blow your advertising budget on old staples like TV and radio media. Reach out to Varsity Media to get the best bang for your buck. For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
We head to the top of the fifth here at St. John's, a 2-1 game with St. Dominic holding off Nichols. Tyler Camastro grinding this one out. You look at the scoreboard, just 1 run and 1 hit for the Vikings. A home run by Trent Ruffalo, who has since left this game due to injury. And now leading off for the Vikings is Zlotnick, the designated hitter. Kipler and Venditti also due up here in this frame. Zlotnick was hit by a pitch in his first at bat in the second.
Lance, you mentioned how Camastro's just been grinding away. He's thrown 55 pitches. Here's his 56, it's outside. So he's thrown 56. He's thrown 30 strikes, 26 balls. So he hasn't exactly been his sharpest, but when he's needed to get the big outs, he has certainly done so. He's gotten a little bit of help from some messy base running. But he's working into the fifth, and he's got, I wouldn't say that's too high of a pitch count, 57. So he's got a little bit more left in the tank, I'm sure. He's ahead 1 and 2 on Zlotnick to start the fifth.
Well, it's been 4 walks and 2 batters he's hit with a pitch. A breaking ball on the 1-2 offering, a ground ball handled by Moreno. The throw is high, and it pulls Ackerman off the peg. So it is going to be a safe arrival for Zlotnick as a result, and the leadoff runner is on. It's going to be ruled an error, not an infield hit.
Yeah, Moreno does the first part of this play well. Gets the high hop, and he unleashes the throw a little bit too high, offline as well. Ackerman does a good job to get off the base to keep that from going down the line. But either way, Zlotnick is on to start the fifth, and Nichols got the tying run aboard.
So that is the first mishap for either team. And a bunt that is popped up. This could be troublesome. And Camastro laying out. They're going to say that it is a fair ball, and it's his defense that backs him up to take care of Zlotnick at second to axe out the leadoff runner.
That's great awareness by Michael Scarry behind home plate. First off, outstanding effort by Camastro, just unable to get there. But Scarry, Johnny on the spot, and both the middle infielders were there at second, so they were ready either way. And Zlotnick caught in a tough spot. Not really much you can do there. And he is wiped off at second, so 1 out, 1 on. Top of the order for Nichols.
And that first pitch misses to Venditti. Home plate umpire Will Jeffries on that last play ruling that Camastro's glove touched the ball while in fair territory, and that is why the play resumed, even though it may have looked like if he didn't touch it, would have been interesting to see if the ball would have bounced foul. And if you're Kipler, you certainly were not pleased with that development to begin with, popping up a bunt attempt, and he maybe turned it into a somewhat of a sack bunt, even though it's certainly not going to go down that way based on the hustle of Scarry. And they nearly picked off Kipler at first, with Camastro and Ackerman looking to connect.
That would have been the latest miscue on the bases for Nichols. And that's the tying run. You've got to be very aware if you're Kipler. You can't run yourself into an out, especially if you're the tying run.
And Scarry again tossing it down the first base line. As Kipler has had to hustle back throughout this at bat for Venditti. Drew a walk in the first, flied out to center in the third. He's looking for his first hit today. And he sends this one into right field. And coming over to make the grab is Weinstein for the second out of the inning.
A little bit of a hit and run there. Kipler was on the move. Good job by him picking up the baseball, seeing that it's a fly ball and that Weinstein is under it. He was able to get back to first to prevent himself from being doubled up. Pardon me. Now 2 outs. Camastro just needs 1 more out, and he's through 5.
Bernardoni, who started out in right field, now in center. He pitched and hit in game number 1. He has taken on a multitude of roles over this day. He drew a walk at his last at bat, grounded into a 3-6-3 double play the first time around. Castro again throwing to Ackerman, and this time they pull off the pickoff successfully. So Kipler took one too many chances, and this time Castro and Ackerman were not going to be fooled, with Ackerman applying the tag and ending the inning, preventing Bernardoni from completing his at-bat. 2-1 as we move on in the 5th on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching Varsity Media, New York's high school sports network.
Merrill, he's got room to go. Merrill towards the end zone. Lost his lid. Touchdown!
JJ Damo, face on, stay on athlete. Controlling the faceoff X3 in a row now.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
Bottom of the 5th here in Queens, New York, with St. Dominic holding on to a 2-1 lead over Nichols in the Catholic League State Championship game. This is a Bayhawks team that shut out the defending champs Iona Prep last night, thanks to the efforts of Tyler Castro, quieting this Nichols lineup, which came alive late in the semifinal game earlier today. They're going to maybe follow the same script, or at least look to do so. But right now, it's the Bayhawks trying to pad their lead with Weinstein, Kim, and Castro due up. Weinstein doubled in his last at-bat in the 3rd. And he takes a strike on the outside corner. As Evan Hintz going back to work. The second pitcher in use in this game for the Vikings. Weinstein's been on twice in this game. He also drew a walk. One pitch. Ricochets off the face mask of Ferlito, so he's a bit shaken up. Will try to collect himself. His home plate umpire, Will Jeffries, will give him a moment. And now we see Brian Brzee come out, check on his backstop. Weinstein nearly had 40 hits in league play this year. That was by far number 1 on the team.
Did that as just a sophomore, too. Just goes to show how advanced beyond his years he is.
Well, he was top 5 in nearly every offensive category within the Catholic League. And talking with Joe Fusco earlier in their postseason run, because there were situations where they would just intentionally walk him, not even take their chances. And Joe said, if I were on the mound, I wouldn't pitch to him either. A 2-2 pitch, high and outside. It also shows you the level of respect that the rest of the league had for him this season. As you pointed out, just a sophomore, but already fearing, offering him opportunities. Payoff pitch from Hintz, and that is low and inside, and Dylan Weinstein drawing his second walk of the game as he is on base for the third time today.
Coaches love guys that can just get on base. Weinstein patient, takes his walk. Just going back to how talented he is as just a sophomore, as Hintz deals to Ray Kim, and it's a strike over the heart of the plate. Weinstein, along with a lot of these guys on this St. Dominic team, play for the club team Showtime Select, which is the national team is coached by none other than Joe Fusco. So a lot of these guys play on that national team, which is obviously got multiple age groups and multiple high-level teams, but a bunch of these players are part of that organization, so they have already played lots of high-level travel games in various tournaments and states, so this isn't like a new experience for them.
And that is going to hit Kim, so now he is heading to first base following the walk to Weinstein, and there's 2 on with nobody out for Camastro. Your point also about Showtime Select also just goes to show you that even though on the surface it's a relatively young team, there is chemistry because there's that carryover factor, and I'm sure Joe Fusco would be the first one to admit that he doesn't get caught up in the classes of all his players because he's been with them for such a lengthy period of time that it's just the natural evolution and development of a group that goes well beyond high school at this stage in their careers. As Camastro is going to have an attractive opportunity, but for the second time in as many games, and this is off camera, we're seeing somebody hustle from the dugout all the way towards the right field bullpen. And I can't say in all my years calling baseball I have seen that on any level, but hey, there's a first time for everything.
That's actually Ray Kim. They have a courtesy runner on at first base. I believe that's Ethan Osorio, number 42. Weinstein's caught in a rundown here.
And Weinstein.
Oh, they called a balk.
Yeah, he is going to take third, and Osorio is going to head to second because we saw Hintz earlier, Roman, and I'm sure you noticed he was turning back to second when it looked like he was getting into his windup, and I thought he was walking the fine line of a balk, and now the umpiring crew got him, and that was Joe Lavecchi at second base who was all over it. And Weinstein having to hustle back to third because Ferlito was also staring him down. So we may see Ray Kim on the hill after all to perhaps close this game out, as you mentioned him running back to the bullpen. But first, Camastro lifts one down the right field line, and hustling over to make the grab is going to be Swanson. The throw home is not handled by Ferlito. Weinstein slides in, and they get their insurance run. It's an RBI sac fly off the bat of Tyler Camastro, and it is a 3-1 cushion thanks to Camastro helping his cause.
Wasn't sure if that was going to dunk in or not. A great job by Swanson moving over to his left to make the grab. You unleashes a pretty good throw home. And Weinstein would have beat that anyway, even if Ferlito had come up with it. And how about Ethan Osorio moving up the extra 90 feet to third base to keep the threat going?
As this pitch is fouled off, but let's backpedal a little, Roman, because you go back to the balk. Camastro could have very well been up with runners on first and second. That would have just been a fly out as opposed to an RBI sac fly, and it could very well have advanced the runners, but still, you could have runners on second and third right now with 2 outs as opposed to a run coming in and a runner on third with 1 out. So these are the little things that are a cumulative effect in a game like this. This is driven into the gap in left center field. And coming over to make the grab is Kipler. Osorio's going to tag from third and come in to score. It's back-to-back RBI sac flies. One from Camastro, the other from Scary, and it's a 4-1 St. Dominic lead.
How about the state tournament that Michael Scary is having? 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs yesterday. He's got a hit, a walk, a sac fly, a run scored today, doing it all. And he's also been fantastic behind the plate. how many times have we said it today? Especially with Nichols. It's been the little things. They were able to overcome it in the semifinal, but so far in this final, they have paid for their mistakes. And the Bayhawks happy to take advantage. They now lead by 3, 4-1.
And I'm going to go back to my initial point with this 1-0 pitch driven deep to left field, and it holds up there for Kipler. And my point is going to have to wait until we come back, because Nichols' defense ending the inning after consecutive RBI sac flies. St. Dominic with a 4-1 cushion as we take another look at Mike Scarry, the latest one to tack on added wiggle room for the Bayhawks in a 4-1 game on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
If you're looking to optimize your sporting event, look no further than Varsity Media's coverage. Since working with them over the course of the past 4 years through the Elite 5 New York City Football Showcase, their coverage has helped take us to the top.
Varsity Media does an unbelievable job in terms of the broadcast, backgrounds on kids, do a great job of exposure from top to bottom. I couldn't really say anything negative. It's been a great couple of years that we've been working together, and it's just fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you, the fact that you guys are here has helped grow it, really. I mean, Varsity Media's been a good partner with us now for the last couple of years. That brings this game to a much broader audience.
The level of detail and that you go to, I mean, obviously the announcers, the camera angles, the slow motions, I mean, you feel like it's being covered by, ESPN.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net.
As we move to the 6th inning here with St. Dominic tacking on a pair of runs with 2 sac flies to make it 4-1. Nichols now will have to ignite a rally just like it did in the semifinal game against St. Francis Prep, but right before, Kipler and company rudely prevented me from finishing my point with the catch that was made out in left field. I was going to say, you go back to the balk, and if that doesn't happen, we could still be looking at a 2-1 game. That is how much that changed, because it advanced both runners, and those were just 2 routine flyouts, but they were flyouts that came with still 1 out. Speaking of flying out, this is popped up by Bernardoni, and Ackerman had to step back a little bit, but hauls it in with 1 away here in the 6th.
Just the accumulation of little mistakes. And Nichols has paid the price today.
Number 6, Evan Hitz.
Against a team like St. Dominic's that's hungry, that's aggressive, and they're going to hunt you down for your mistakes. They certainly did in that 5th inning, cashing in 2 runs on. They didn't get a hit that inning. 2 runs on no hits.
Well, and you look at the tally, it's 4 runs on 4 hits, so not a monster number if you're Nichols, but a lot of things just have not bounced their way in terms of chances, both when they're in the box as well as in the field. And this is a St. Dom's team, and anyone in the Catholic League that has collided with them can speak to this experience. Just when you think that you may be in a position to put them away or capitalize, they have other plans, and probably Kellenberg is ahead of the list after they led that championship series 1-0. Right now, Evan Hintz is looking to help his cause, facing a 2-1 count here. This is the Trent Ruffalo spot, 3rd in the order, who left with an injury. And he is accounted for the lone run in this game. That was the home run in the 1st, which seemed like ages ago, and when he hit that, it seemed as if everything was going to be heading in the direction of Nichols, but St. Dominic had other plans, and maybe this time the tide is turning as Hintz rips one down the left field line, but it's only going to be a single. Good hustle there by Ganaris. as they were able to stop the bleeding on that connection. And it is going to be a runner on first with 1 out in the 6th.
That's just excellent two-strike hitting. He gets a breaking ball from Castro and just serves it into left field. Doesn't do too much, just throws the bat at the ball, puts it in play. The good things happen. Castro throws strike 1 to Connor Maione. Just two-strike hitting, just put the bat on the ball, go with the pitch. Great job there by Hintz.
This is a dribbler to second. They're going to step on the bag for 1. The toss back to first is in time. A 4-3 double play. Dom Muccia, who has been red hot with his bat, putting on a flash of leather as he makes the robbery right up the middle and is in prime position to step on second and then play catch with Ackerman to end the top of the 6th on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Hey, this is Doc Gooden, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
For the latest news in high school sports, be sure to check out varsitymedia.net or follow us on social media at Varsity Media.
Bottom of the 6th inning with St. Dominic ahead of Nichols 4-1. We will see the 7, 8, and 9 hitters due up to face Evan Hintz, Zach Cook, Chris Vangelatos, and Luke Ganaris. As this has been a Bayhawks team fighting its way back with 2 runs in the 2nd, 2 in the 5th. After the Vikings jumped ahead on the Trent Ruffalo home run in the top of the 1st inning. And since then, they have put the ball in play. They have been aggressive on the base paths. And that is how they have gone about manufacturing their runs. And they are looking to maybe give Castro a little bit more wiggle room, as it's not a stretch to see Castro finish maybe this game and head back out on the hill for the top of the 7th after Ackerman went the distance last night with a complete game 3-hitter. Zach Cook bounces one through the hole between 3rd and short into left field for a leadoff single. And just as we've seen them do time and time again, they put the first batter on base and allow him to do damage.
Really impressed with Zach Cook. This kid is just a freshman, and he looks like at least a junior with the way he sprays the ball around the field. It's going to be lifted, or it looks to be a courtesy runner, I believe, maybe a pinch runner. Either way, Lucas Mosman will now take Cook's spot at first base. And for the Bayhawks, more runs wouldn't hurt at all.
Well, we mentioned earlier he's going to New Haven, and maybe he's going to come home. A deep hit into the gap in left center, all the way to the wall. Mosman is stepping on the gas. He's riding that horse, rounds 3rd, and will easily come in to score. The senior commit to New Haven gets an opportunity to make an appearance as a courtesy runner and is brought home thanks to Chris Vangelatos with an RBI double, and they are sensing perhaps a state title with another run.
It's almost the exact same kind of hit that he had in the 2nd inning. Now 3 RBIs on the day for Vangelatos. He's been exploiting that left center field gap to perfection. And the offensive MVP for the Bayhawks today.
And the 8th hitter of all. You talk about the top of the order, how dangerous that group is with Muccia and Weinstein and Kim. And then we see what the bottom of the order is doing. Ganaris lays down the bunt. Hintz is there. And they will toss to first for out number 1. But that was a beautiful sac bunt by Ganaris to advance Vangelatos to third.
Joe Fusco pushing all the right buttons here. Bayhawks now lead by 4. Infield coming in for Nichols. Ground ball could very well make it a 5-run game.
The first pitch is driven into center field, and it's not going to be caught by Bernardoni. So Vangelatos is going to come in to score, and Muccia will slide into third for a connection and an RBI to boot. They've padded their lead 6-1 with another 2-run frame as everything bouncing the way of the Bayhawks.
So much for just putting the ball on the ground. Lace one to center. Thought Bernardoni was going to get that, but he came up empty. Got a little, I think he got just enough of it to at least slow it down. So that ball didn't go all the way to the wall. But either way, Muccia all the way to third. St. Dom's can taste it. Back-to-back 2-run frames. Infield remains in. Weinstein can add on.
He drew a walk in his last at-bat, doubled in the third, and drew a walk in the first. So he is looking to get on base for the 4th time today. With Muccia at third and 1 out. St. Dominic is not taking any chances, cushioning this lead as much as possible. They've had 2 in the 2nd, 2 in the 5th, and now 2 in the 6th. And you mentioned Joe Fusco pushing all the right buttons, Roman. I think also part of the philosophy to get Mosman in. This is his very last high school game, and see whether or not he can chip in as Weinstein swings and misses. And what a great moment for him. Not an everyday player, but you find an opportunity to put him on the base paths, and then about a second later, he winds up having to circle the bases. And Weinstein may have a chance to circle the bases himself as he draws his 3rd walk of the afternoon. 3 walks and a double. He's been on base 4 times here in the championship game.
Yeah, go back to your point about Mosman. It's probably one of the first times, if not the first time, that he's run the bases all year. And he is listed as a pitcher, probably going to be a pitcher only at New Haven, so probably not going to get very many more chances to run the bases. So good moment for him as he crosses home, and St. Dom's continuing to threaten. 2 on, still just 1 out.
As Kim lifts one down the right field line, and this is going to drop foul. I don't know, Mosman may be showing the New Haven coaching staff that film, Roman, and he may be making a case to say, I don't know if I would just want to be on the hill at the next level. He may find some spot duty elsewhere, as that is bound to make his highlight reel.
If you need some fresh legs, I'm right here.
There you go. So we've seen Ray Kim hustle all the way from the dugout to the bullpen. Now back in the mix here for another at bat. He was hit by a pitch in his last opportunity. He was doubled off at second and then grounded out to short. So here is a chance with runners on the corners. Mucci is at third, Weinstein is at first, and Hintz is watching Weinstein very closely.
Yeah, Weinstein likes to tantalize these pitchers.
He plays mind games with them, and it has worked effectively. As the 1-1 pitch is popped up, and this is going to head into the stands, and right to the left of us into no man's land. Something tells me the Bayhawks are going to want to reclaim that ball at some point, but I think their focus for the time being is on hardware. We were talking with Chris Hardart earlier today, baseball commissioner for the Catholic League, about 5 different champions in as many years. And that is really a remarkable development. It says a lot about the vast amount of talent across New York State. We're going to have a little bit of a game of catch as a run is going to come into score in the form of Muccia. So small ball at its finest. Weinstein gets Hintz all caught up at the activity at first and opens up an alley for Muccia to score to make it a 7-1 game.
And Muccia broke right away as soon as Hintz threw that ball to Mayotte at first. No hesitation, that's why he was able to score. Mayotte also bobbled it a little bit, so took some time for him to get the throw off. There's ball 3 to Kim. But the Bayhawks just doing what they've done all season, especially in the postseason. Finding gaps, stealing bases, and forcing the opponent in mistakes.
So here's the 2-2 pitch, and actually, excuse me, the 3-2 pitch, and that is going to be ball 4. And a free base for Kim. So back-to-back walks to Weinstein and Kim. And that'll bring up Tyler Camastro,
Number 18,
who can perhaps put the finishing touches from an offensive standpoint on his performance and then take the mound for the final 3 outs. But we'll see whether or not Nichols is going to make a change, as we'll see a little bit of a powwow on the mound. In a 7-1 game, as the Bayhawks have put 3 runs on the board in this current inning, and we are going to have a pitching change. So that'll give us a time to step aside. A 7-1 game in the 6th on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
This is Jalen Brunson. You're watching Varsity Media.
You've seen the dedication, the long hours, the early mornings, the sacrifice. You know your athlete has what it takes, but how do you make sure the right people see it? The recruiting process isn't easy. Coaches are flooded with highlights, but how do you stand out in the crowd? At Varsity Media, we specialize in creating game-changing ISO videos, high-definition, athlete-focused footage that highlights exactly what college recruiters want to see. With our up-close ISO video, we capture your athlete's key moments. No more wide angles showing other players. This is just your athlete's pure, raw talent. This is more than a video. This is the opportunity your athlete deserves. Give your athlete the edge they need. Make the right impression with Varsity Media's ISO video service. The future starts now. Help keep Varsity Media's broadcasts free on YouTube by considering an advertising sponsorship. Our coverage of local games helps local businesses get visibility in the community. To learn more about our sponsorship packages and rates, email ben@varsitymedia.net.
Cody Kipler is the new pitcher for Nichols as he switches spots with Evan Hintz, because Hintz now goes out to left field to take over Kipler's spot. Kipler now is on the hill. Good luck keeping track of all of these changes, by the way, during the game from afar. He is...
See my scorebook.
Well, we could, I think, have a competition in that department in terms of who has more chicken scratch all over their scorebook. 2-2 with a 3.88 ERA. This is his 9th appearance this season, as Kipler has logged 21 2/3 innings, 13 runs, 12 earned on 18 hits and 13 walks. He has struck out 27, and opponents are hitting this season 220 off of him. And he has to deal with the opposing pitcher as Camastro swings and misses. You've got Weinstein at second and Kim at first. Back-to-back walks finish the outing for Hintz.
It's good to see all the different pitchers that Nichols has thrown. This is their 6th pitcher of the day, but even Kipler, this is his 9th appearance, so it's not like this is one of the few times he's pitched. He has gotten his fair share of action on the bump this season.
Right now, getting the better of Camastro. Kipler is an experienced player, with this being his 4th year on varsity. The 1-2 pitch is sailed into the netting behind home plate. Kipler watching Weinstein, just as we saw Hintz do. It's a Nichols program that is trying to find a way back into this game. St. Dominic has scored 7 unanswered runs. They were not picked by many to be in this position, the Vikings, after losing a lot of talent from a year ago. They graduated 7 starters, including their star pitcher, Ross Yoshida, who is currently at Cornell. He just won Ivy League Rookie of the Year this past season. They've got 2 seniors, 4 sophomores, 2 freshmen. They called up more freshmen for the playoffs as that pitch gets away from Ferlito, so both runners are going to advance, and it really makes no difference anyway because Camastro is going to get a free base. 3 straight walks, bases loaded, 1 out for Mike Scarry, who can really add an exclamation point to this game.
Yeah, you could put the cherry on top of this one with a big bop. Bases juiced. 6-run game. Chance to blow this one wide open if you're Scary. Can't try and do too much, though.
And the first pitch to Scary, a ground ball, which put fear in the eyes of Nichols for a second before it bounced foul.
That was just a foot outside first base. That had double in the corner written all over it. At least 2, maybe 3 runs would have scored if that was fair. So Kipler catches a break for now.
Breaking ball, a ground ball to first. Mayone's going to throw to second for 1. Back to first. Kipler loses his footing. Weinstein already comes in to score. Kim is going to follow. It is 9-1 in favor of St. Dominic. A near inning-ending double play, but Kipler lost his footing, and they could not pull it off after Mayone threw over to second, and you're going to see the next throw. Kipler was heading towards the bag. The throw went the opposite direction, and these are the types of errors that have contributed to what is now looking like an offensive clinic for St. Dominic.
Yeah, that throw from Venditti was off target. That's such a tough play, too, as the first pitch to Moreno is low for a ball. Venditti's got to hit Kipler on the run. He's got to throw it to the base where you don't know if Kipler's going to be there in time, if he's going to be late. Throw over to first. Scary back with the dive. So it's such a tough play. But unfortunate for them, came with the bases loaded, so not just 1, but 2 across the plate. And the Bayhawks add on. It's now a 5-run outburst in the 6th.
9 runs on 7 hits. Here's Moreno. This inning started with Zach Cook, the 7th hitter in the lineup. 2-0 pitch, a line drive into left field for a 2-out single as Moreno gets his 2nd base hit of the day. And they have now officially batted around in this 6th inning, as the man who started the frame is going to return to the box, but no, he instead is going to be lifted for a pinch hitter, as it is going to be Chase DeLeonardis.
And DeLeonardis, a senior, so he hasn't gotten much PT so far this year, but he gets an at-bat in the state title game. Great moment for him and for the Bayhawks as they can sense it and sense their first state title in program history.
The first pitch to him is high and outside. As we see Joe Fusco looking to give the bulk of his roster opportunities here down the stretch.
And once again, I believe that's Vitale in running for Scary at 2nd base. Failed to mention that earlier.
We've got Vitale and Moreno on the base paths, and they thought it may have been a walk, but instead it's going to be a payoff pitch to DeLeonardis. And the payoff pitch is fouled back into the netting, so everybody's going to have to hustle to their respective spots.
DeLeonardis getting a lot of encouragement from his dugout, from the Bayhawk faithful.
Well, that's what's great about a situation like this when you're up by 8 runs in a championship game, giving some players that don't normally get at-bats or opportunities a chance to shine. We talked about Lucas Mosman earlier in the game, pinch runner coming in to score. And now DeLeonardis in a similar spot. And he is going to earn a walk and load things up yet again. So the bases are juiced for the 8th hitter in the lineup. Evangelatos.
It's already got a RBI double this inning. A hit right here for Evangelatos could very well seal the deal as championship game MVP. I don't know if we give that out here, but.
Well, if you want to start the Roman Brunetti Trophy.
Actually, wait a sec. This is Matt DeFranza hitting. Another senior.
So this is going to be a run of pinch hitters. As we talked about DeFranza being one of the college commitments earlier in the broadcast, Mount St. Vincent. So this is the final high school game for the senior. And the 2-1 pitch is taken for a strike.
And DeFranza listed on the roster as a pitcher, and that's where he's gotten the bulk of his action this year. So good for him to get one last at-bat in a Bayhawk uniform before he heads off to UMSV.
We have seen Joe Fusco go deep into his bench, with his team plating 5 runs in the 6th after 2 runs in the 5th. And the payoff pitch, a swing and a miss, as Kipler will finally end the 6th inning, but not before they widen the gap, as St. Dom's is 3 outs away from its first state title on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
Well, I've been working with Varsity Media for, 14 years. When we have video needs, whether that be a game, whether that be a practice, whether it be social media, it's nice to know that somebody understands what we're looking for without asking for it.
We started working with Varsity Media back in 2021, and since then they've been an absolute game changer, putting our event on the map. Varsity Media couldn't be a better partner, and if you're looking to optimize your event, I couldn't recommend them anymore.
It's been great for us. You know, the kids really get excited when they know that Varsity Media is going to be here. Not just what's happening on the football field, but all the excitement that's around it. It really boosts the environment here, and everybody gets really excited for what's going on.
Varsity Media, it's reliable, professional, and the quality work is fantastic. It's like watching ESPN. The announcers are unreal, really do a great job of speaking to the coaches to get the knowledge of the players, the season, what's going on with the team. There is nothing better than Varsity Media doing a live broadcast.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. For all the latest Varsity Media updates, including our game schedules, be sure to follow us on social media at Varsity Media, the home for New York high school sports.
Tyler Camastro, number 18, front and center on the hill with a chance to finish a complete game and take a page out of Connor Ackerman's playbook. Ackerman last night went the distance, a 3-hit shutout. Camastro currently has limited Nichols to 2 hits and 1 run through 6, as they are 3 outs away from claiming the program's first ever state championship. And it is going to be for Lido, Swanson, and Weber.
Camastro's just got to get this ball over the plate. Just throw strikes. 8-run lead. No reason to nibble at the corners here.
As Ferlito lofts one down the right field line, and that is going to drop foul. Ackerman made every effort to hunt it, but could not get the backhand up. As Ferlito's 0 for 2. He went down looking in the second. He lined out to short in the 4th. And the 2-1 pitch, a ground ball to short. And they'll toss it over to first for out number 1. 2 outs away from Hardware as Ray Kim punctuates that ground out.
Just impressive pitching from Camastro and Ackerman this weekend. They only had to use 2 pitchers, barring some kind of major development here. Complete game from Ackerman. Camastro 6 1/3. He's on the doorstep of a 1-run gem. And these are players that are pretty much this whole team is going to run it back next year with the exception of a few guys. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Dom's is in this exact same situation 1 year from now in 2027.
0-1 pitch, elevated deep to right field. Weinstein is there, 2 away. So Nichols is down to its final out, and the St. Dominic faithful is on its feet. They are letting the Bayhawks hear it with Emerson Weber about to enter the box.
Now batting number 29, Emerson Weber.
He drew a walk in the second, went down looking in the 4th. Camastro is also seeking his first 1-2-3 inning. And how appropriate would that be to finish things off? He's faced the minimum in other innings, but there at least had been a walk or something else that occurred. 1-1 pitch falls in for a strike. So Nichols is now down to its final strike. St. Dominic won the Catholic League Long Island Championship Series by outlasting Kellenberg in 3 games. They are now 1 strike away. 1-2 pitch, a ground ball to Kim. He scoops it up and tosses it, and a team that finished 500 in league play is well above average here in Queens, New York. For the first time in school history, the St. Dominic Bayhawks are state champs of the Catholic League of New York, and the celebration is underway. Tyler Camastro with a complete game 2-hitter, following up Connor Ackerman's gem. They did it with small ball, they did it with clutch hitting, and they did it with pitching, and they are going to go home state title holders.
And what a fitting way for it to finish. The Nassau-Suffolk Championship Series ended with a ground out to Ray Kim, and the New York State playoffs end with a ground out to Ray Kim, and what a masterful job Joe Fusco has done with this program as he receives hugs from his players. Past 2 seasons, this team won the Nassau-Suffolk regular season, and were the selections of many to win this state tournament, but each time fell short in the Nassau-Suffolk playoffs. Well, this time, as the 5 seed, they get the job done. You mentioned it. They went into the playoffs at 500. Me personally, as someone who kept close tabs on the league as a broadcaster, I honestly didn't think they would make it to this point. I thought that their lack of experience would work against them, but they proved me wrong. I will give kudos and then some to the St. Dominic Bayhawks for excelling when the lights were brightest and the stage was biggest.
Pitching can be an ultimate difference maker, and their young guns came through with Connor Ackerman, a junior, Tyler Camastro, a sophomore, and as you mentioned, Roman, both of those pitchers, can you imagine? They get all this experience on the state tournament level, and they're both going to return next season as they are now preparing the trophy presentation with St. Dominic, a team full of youthful inspiration led by Joe Fusco, is now giving everybody involved a Gatorade bath. And on a day like this, it does not hurt to get a cool down. It looks like another one is nearly coming as they're going to hold on for dear life, as this has been a well-deserved and a well-earned celebration. And Joe Fusco is going to take the latest bath and gladly, with his helmet still on, cool down on a day where temperatures reach the mid-80s, and I would argue feels a little bit more like the 90s. So let's send it off to the public address announcer for the championship trophy presentation.
Reese Jasper, Dom Ferlito, Evan Hicks, Eamon Smith, Brady Venditti, Caleb Johnson, Mason Druin, J.R. Hornock, Jack Burnt, Cody Kipler, Cal Reinheimer, Evan Hughes, Trenton Ravola, Eli Langer, Matt Slotnick, Emerson Weber, Connor Leone, and Grayson Gordon. And now the Nichols Vikings captains for the state finalist flag. for the CHSAA champion St. Dominic's Bayhawks. Louis Guneres. Christos Vangelatos. Dominic Muccia. Lucas Mosman. Nichols Vitali. Matthew DeFranza. Dylan Weinstein. Ray Kim. Christian Moreno. Kieran Dunn. Christian Orlandi. Tyler Camastro. Ralph Colon. Connor Ackerman. Gianni Perullo. Michael Perullo. Chase DeLeonardis. Alfonso Terrana. Jonathan Mancinelli. Luke Bernstein. Zach Cook. Ethan Osario. And Michael Scari. And now the St. Dominic's captains for the championship black. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause.
So there you have it, the Bayhawks of St. Dominic celebrating their state championship here in Queens, New York at St. John's University. Joe Fusco's group went 9-9 in league play, the number 5 seed. They knocked off top seed St. Anthony's not once but twice. They beat Kellenberg in the 3-game championship series, and they just picked up steam little by little. And I think, Roman, the major takeaway as we wrap up shop here is the fact that, as you've been highlighting throughout this broadcast, they're losing very few players, which means, assuming health cooperates, it would not be a stunning development if we're talking about this team at this time of the year next year.
Yeah, it would not surprise me at all if I'm hanging out and I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see, 2027 Catholic League champs, St. Dominic's Bayhawks. It really wouldn't surprise me at all. They're bringing back pretty much all their pitchers. I think like all their pitchers they're bringing back with the exception of DeFranza and Mosman. So you've got Camastro, you've got Ackerman, you've got Kim for next year. They all hit. You've got Scary, you've got Gunaris, Muccia. You've got all these pieces coming back for another year, some 2, Zach Cook even 3 more years. So this program is on the steady rise. Their rise to this state championship has been linear. Although it might have been a little bit of a disappointing regular season, they turned up in the postseason, and that's all that matters. You get hot at the right time, anything can happen. And for the Bayhawks, they won the whole thing.
And they got healthy as well with their arms. Kim and Ackerman, specifically. Vangelatos, the junior who you mentioned, led the way with a pair of doubles, drove in 3 runs as they cruise to a 9-1 victory over Nichols in the state championship. That is going to wrap up our coverage of the Catholic League State Tournament here in Queens. Executive producer Ben Turchin, technical director Chris Sweeney, camera operator Hayden Brophy. For Roman Brunetti, I'm Lance Meadows saying so long from St. John's, where the St. Dominic Bayhawks are cruising to a state championship for the first time in school history.